better don't blunder like 89. Into exile, I gave them all a chance to control tongue for a while. But after 7 long years, what do I see? They still pushing nigga business and tomfoolery, and running off in mid-song with their impertinence, as if they're playing math with the audience intelligence. Well, I come to put an end to their fun. I recapturing the tongue like Rambo, coming out and a throwing bomb. And a ballin', no retreat, no surrender, no hostages, no prisoner. I declare in total war this time. They could run from here till they reach Uganda. I'm going to put them under if they only blunder like 89. They better don't blunder like 89. Hey boy, this is not a fashion show. This is a calypso show. Sing something. Nonsense is relished by the wisest men. Too much nonsense is a big problem. Every year some of them come here so predictable, pushed in the same old lyrics under a new title. Then up and down aggrandizing themselves, man, that is so feeble. They come a ring to be king and bring nothing to the table. I mean they bring nothing to make you jump, nothing to make you happy, nothing to stimulate you intellectually. No retreat, no surrender, no hostages, no prisoner. I declare in total war this time. It's like fish on land, they only plunder. This year I go give them thunder. They better don't blunder like 89. They better don't blunder like 89. Every year coming here, the same thing, arguing about who is strong, who is king, and where they're singing. Nothing. No retreat, no surrender, no hostages, no prisoner. I declare in total war this time. I felt him with thunder, lightning, brimstone and fire. My way they go running for cover. They better don't blunder like 89. They better don't blunder like 89.
This evening.
Hello, good evening, and welcome once again to another show that we call Tell Me. It's a show that we've been doing since 2005, so we have 20 years in the business. Could retire now on full pension. And that's it, right? We could retire now on full pension. 20 years. And I'm always happy to be in the company of these two gentlemen on a Thursday night. Tulu, and my right, Tulu, how you do?
I'm doing good. I'm giving thanks. It's a blessing, a privilege to be here again another Thursday evening for this special program to inform the people, get them to make informed decisions. Good evening to my sisters, Sylvia and Janet and Valerie. Also to Lavanda, Rhonda, Romelo, he might be back home at this point. Elvan Ellie, Bayo. Extra special good evening to Cheryl and Deborah. Hope you all are doing very well. Welcome one and all.
And Dr. Daly, how are you doing?
Like fine wine.
I like that. I love when you like fine wine. You say you look like fine wine?
You look fine too. Look fine.
That means we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Don't watch me so hard, you know. I don't do them kind of things here.
I hear you.
keep them kind of comments there for Eric.
What am I going to do with you?
Let me say good evening to all those who have joined us for another Thursday evening of Tell Me. And if you're on the YouTube, Twitch, and of course the FM dial, if you're on Facebook Live, welcome. Let me say a special good evening to my brother down there in St. Croix, Hugh, my brother Denny and his lovely wife Trella up there in New York, and of course my brother Steve in California, who I spoke with yesterday. It was a pleasure to speak to him. And my brother Carl in Atlanta, my sisters Even and Judith up there in Connecticut, and my brothers Othniel Daly right here on Nevis, and my other brother Carl up there in Canada. And of course my good buddies over there in St. James. You have Max up in Westbury, Gary and Bose and Toledo, Turkey, up there in Brooklyn. Good evening to all your brothers. So welcome and good night.
They ain't got no sisters over there who you want to say hello to?
I don't know no sisters over there.
Okay, just your mother and father children. Yes. You don't know any other sisters you want to say good night to?
No.
Okay, I'll stay with that. Before I hail up my own family, I'm going to say hello to your good sister in the Twiller. She is a very faithful supporter of Tell Me and of 2020 Vision Radio. So I want to say good night to you. Hope that you and your husband and the rest of the family are doing good. And then I'll start from the bottom and come up this week, as I call Merv last all the time. So for Mario's children, let me say hello to Mervet, and hope that you're doing good. And then I'll move on and say hello to, I gotta say hello to Glenda and her family. Say hello to Mary and her family. My sister Mary is on another excursion. What a retired lady. She don't keep still at all. She's someplace on the far side of the world having fun. So good night to you. Good night to Trevor here in Nevis and his family, and Everett down in Tartola and his family as well. Hope that you are doing extremely good and that you're enjoying this beautiful weather. Dr. Daly, I came from St. Kitts a while ago. Been working in St. Kitts for the last couple days. Man, you ain't tell me how peaceful it is out there on a moonlight night.
It is fantastic.
Man.
It is something that you have to experience to really appreciate how beautiful when you're in the middle of the ocean is and you see the moon coming over the horizon, and it's just something to behold. You know, the only thing about it, fish don't bite so good when it's moonlight.
They could see too good. They see the hook.
No, I think they prefer to be doing a little amorous.
Okay, all right. Making young fish.
Making young fish.
Yeah, but I sat near to the back of the boat, and it was so beautiful seeing the moonlight and the water out there. Really, really wonderful. Okay, let's go to the birthday list, and we have, as usual, some very important people on the birthday list tonight. And I'm sending 2 sets of birthday greetings going out to Jeanette Tyson, who is celebrating on Friday the 11th. 1 set of greetings coming to you from Sharnett. And then I have a nice little bet. I was told that I cannot say tonight, happy birthday to my mother-in-law Jeanette. So I'm going to say it to win me bet. I ain't tell you if it's true, but I'm going to win me bet.
Me ain't touching that.
Okay, all right. Don't touch it. My good friend Donovan Herbert.
You got too speechless.
Something got to stop him.
I'm not getting involved.
My good friend Donovan Herbert will be celebrating on Saturday. And also celebrating on Saturday some very special and important people. A lady, Ali, and her husband, John Gilbert. They've been together since God made morning.
How long that be?
Man, listen. If Ali is 65, she and John been together as soon as she became legal.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm told that the courting happened like this. John saw Ali and said, I'm going to get married to you, let's get married. And they were married a couple of days later.
That's a bold man.
And look how long he lasted.
It's a wise man.
Hey, knowing my friend Ali, she must be cracking up with laughter. Ali, some of the facts are true, but I took liberty with some. Yeah. So you don't worry with me. Ali is my friend. Okay. Then my nephew Shamari is celebrating. I have 3 sets of birthdays coming up. Renee, my niece Renee, I think is on the 14th. Rennie, don't hold it against me. Trevor, don't hold it against me if I got it wrong. My nephew Shamari is coming up on the 15th. And then my nephew Caden is coming up on the 16th. But I think I have them, it's supposed to be the 14th, 15th, 16th. So if I have them wrong, my brother Trevor will correct me. But I know that Shamari is the 15th and Caden is the 16th. So I hope that those I have in order. And Renee, I think my niece Renee's birthday is on the 14th. So all of those coming up just now. And those are what I have on record here. I don't know if anything came up on the Facebook feed.
No, I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. So we can do those birthday greetings and get moving. Birthday song rather, and then we can get going.
All right. I guess you guys ready?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And as usual from us in the studio, may you live to be 101 and us 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth.
And then, having done that part of it, the happy part of it, tomorrow, Friday, is the funeral service for Maria Lorenza Parry. That's the mother of Derek Parry. And that funeral will be happening at the St. Thomas's Anglican Church, 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Viewing starts at 2 o'clock. And I hope that the whole of the Masters family go. Derek Parry, of course, is a member of the Masters Cricket Club. And I hope that people who love and support the family go out. I'm going to be otherwise engaged down there in St. Kitts. So, I would be there very early in support of Derek Parry. He's one of the most talented cricketers I've ever seen. And I want everybody to go and give him fulsome support. He's a good guy.
Question on the board for you. Will you guys be there for Holy Thursday?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't come in on Holy Thursday. That's next week Thursday.
That's next week Thursday?
Yeah. So we don't do a show on Holy Thursday. So we want people to remember that. This might be a birthday greeting, so we'll go over to the phone lines and take it. Hi, good evening.
Good evening all. I would like to say advance birthday greetings to my leader, Dr. Janice Hodge, Daniel Hodge, also to John Gilbert and to Janet Hall. They're all celebrating on the 17th.
Yeah, you got your whole week early, and we're not going to be here. I suppose we should have done that week.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, we should do that week as well because
you won't be here.
We are not going to be here. So
right. So it's Wednesday.
No, the 17th is next week. Today is the 10th. So today. What date is today?
Next week Thursday.
Yeah, today is the 10th, so it's next week is the 17th. Yeah. But you know what? That's an idea. We are going to go back and we are going to pull up next week and send out those greetings as well. So no, that's a very good idea. So next week Thursday. Let me roll over.
Thursday.
Next week Thursday, Holy Thursday, we are not going to be here. And that's the birthday of Janet Hall, Janice Daniel Hodge. John Gilbert is celebrating a birthday as well. And then on the 8th, yeah, we have those already. They have an anniversary coming up, and John also has a birthday coming up. And then on Friday the 18th, Sandra Hanley. On Saturday the 19th, a friend of mine in Tartola, Chucky, will be celebrating. Next week, the 22nd, Dweja Morton, Kenneth Liebert, and my good friend over there, Rosita France. All of those will be celebrating. And on Wednesday, the 23rd, is Dillis Brown. So all of those, we have to shout them up tonight because we are not going to be in next week on the 17th. Holy Thursday, we normally take off that.
Good night.
Good night, Rhonda. How are you doing?
You hear from me soon, okay? I'm good.
I'm happy to hear that you're good. I'm praying.
Okay, thank you. Keep getting better.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. I'll keep praying too.
Okay. All right. You take care. Love you.
Love you too,
Bye-bye.
darling.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, that's an idea. We got in those persons who we would normally have recognized next week, because we're not going to be here next week on Holy Thursday. So yes, thank you very much. Gentlemen, I suppose that all of you saw the press release that was issued by government talking about the companies that had been struck off and so on, and talking about MSR Media. You saw that, Doctor? You must have.
Yeah, I saw
You're on
it.
Facebook.
I saw it. But before we do that, let me say advance birthday greetings to our caretaker of St. Paul's, J.D. Keynes. She'll be celebrating on the 19th. So,
Yeah, that falls in next week as well.
yeah. All right. Yeah, I saw the release that a number of persons have been struck off. CBI at the citizenship role, and MSR Media and MSR hotels have also been struck down. And so, I think the government is trying to move on from this episode, which is a good thing to do. This matter needs to be put to bed, and I think that the gentleman in question is behaving rather badly lately, trying to remain relevant, which I find very unfortunate because he's getting an audience. I listened to him. Somebody sent me a tape of him on one of the shows, and the same vitriol he came with, accusing people of all sorts of nefarious activities without any proof whatsoever. And he has a ready audience here in St. Kitts and Nevis, unfortunately. What I need him to speak about, he doesn't want to speak about, which is the relationship between him and the NIA and that contract he got from the NIA. That's what he should be bringing to the fore. Everything else is just garbage, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm glad to see that the government is trying to bring closure to that issue with persons underpaying for passports, and the willingness of quite a number of persons to do the right thing and pay up the difference in what they should have paid and make that thing whole. And those, of course, who didn't comply struck off as citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. But I'm glad that the CBI is moving in such a transparent manner. I think it's time that they really clean up everything else, including the fake marriages that the Attorney General spoke about so many times, that the Prime Minister spoke about so many times. That need to be sorted. I am dissatisfied with that aspect, because then you have all of these 1,200 persons they said were illegally married, and you have yet to find one person being struck off. I find that distasteful. I find that unfortunate, because in the end, those persons will carry our voters card. Those persons will possibly vote in our elections because they would be resident here on St. Kitts and Nevis or in the nearby Dominican Republic or where else they came from in the Caribbean. And so I wish that matter would be sorted as quickly as the CBI matter was sorted.
I agree with you, and I want to spend some time on that. But first of all, let me back up just a little bit. The release that was issued by the federal government here in St. Kitts Nevis says that the St. Kitts and Nevis authorities blacklisted 2 international agents. They revoked the citizenship of individuals and terminated MSR investment. Now, when you look at the story itself, it said that 2 international marketing agents have been blacklisted. 13 agents and their dependents have had their St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship revoked by the relevant authorities in St. Kitts Nevis. So when you scroll down the list to look at those 2, which they say they had blacklisted, one of them is Latitude Residency and Citizenship. When you go to the site of that company, which the government said that they had blacklisted, I sent it, but unfortunately it was not pulled up on the system so that we could show you. They're still listing St. Kitts and Nevis on their website. So the government here issued a release to say that they had been blacklisted. So they should not be able to sell the citizenship by investment. They should not be able to participate any further. And after this issue was released by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, when you go to the site of Latitude, which is one of the companies blacklisted, they still are selling the programs for Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Malta. St. Kitts and Nevis is still on the list. And if that is not troubling enough, let me go to the other one that they said that they had blacklisted, RIF Trust. And RIF Trust on their website still selling the citizenships for Malta, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, Turkey, Vanuatu, and others. So the government of St. Kitts Nevis is not just enough for them to say, listen, we have blacklisted these people, so they cannot sell the citizenship by Nevis. And I don't bother with them too much when they say it's not sell, they're selling passport. They're selling passports. That is the crux of the matter. They could call it anything they want. For the common man, is sale of the St. Kitts Nevis passport. The two companies that they said they blacklisted, RIF Trust and Latitude, they still have St. Kitts Nevis on the website, at least until a couple of days ago. One thing I like to deal with my son Alan Powell, you tell him something, he tell you, hold on, let me go and check this out first. And when he checked it out, he sent me the screenshot, still there. So you could issue all the press releases you want, but until or unless you have this taken down from their webpage, what is going to happen is that you're going to create bad blood, because somebody will make the application, pay the money, it will come to St. Kitts and Nevis, where they're going to turn their back around and say, we're not doing business with these people. You got to let them know that, listen, we are not doing business with you anymore, and that's that.
Well,
they'll work it out.
You see, these things are quite litigious, because if I'm discontinuing business with you, and I'm in a foreign jurisdiction where you have no reach and no power over me, I can put whatever I want on my page. I can put it down. And by the time the application get down here, it is no good, because you're the executing agency is on the page. And I agree with you. They really need to insist that these persons are told that they basically are causing harm. I don't know how they're going to solve this one, because I really don't think they have any control of what people put on their pages, what countries they advertise. But they know within their own organization that any applications from those two companies will not be processed. So I don't know what's the point of the company even beginning to or continuing to give the impression that they have this ability to market on St. Kitts and Nevis when they don't.
When you pull them down, do you tell them before you make it public? You notify them that you're going to do it?
You would have had conversations that you have reached an impasse.
Okay.
And they're no longer qualified to do business.
Well, out of decency, since if that process was followed, then out of decency they should have taken it down.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to MSR a bit, Dr. Daly, and say, if Dr. Harris and Dr. Jew had paid any attention to the information that you gave when Martinez was brought to our show, let us set the call and then we'll come back to that.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carlisle. Good evening, Dr. Daly, and good evening, Tulu.
Good evening.
Happy Thursday night to you guys. I'm listening to this thing about MSR, and every time I hear that name, I get angrier. I don't know about you guys, because we've listened to a lot of foolishness over a long time. When you play with puppy lick your tail. Those people know who they're dealing with, and they know why they can continue to put this on their site and do whatever foolishness, because they have no respect for us or for the persons who they have dealt with before. They've been in our kitchens They've been in our homes. They've been in our faces. They know what they're dealing with. It makes us sound so foolish and look so foolish. That's where my anger lies. Why did we allow it to get to this? They should be gone and gone forever. We should not even have a conversation about them. But here they are. It's gone through the court. How many people have come here and get their hotel and everything paid for by the people here? Are we real? Is Nevis a real place or what? And we continue to do this foolishness. And that's why the MSR man and whoever they are out there are going to continue to do foolishness. And I tell you something, I hate to say it, but give us another year or two, and we're going to be having the same conversation again about all the people who are illegally married, all the people who came in here and did all kind of foolishness with our CBI program. It's going to happen. Because somewhere in the crevices of how we do business, we're not doing business. We're playing the fool.
Thank you very much, caller.
Have a good night.
Okay. We'll stay with the phone lines and just switch over. Good evening, caller. I think the caller left. Okay.
So, since we wait for the call, so if they had paid attention to the information that was given, even if I want to excuse Harris a little bit, which I'm not going to excuse, Drew has absolutely no excuse because the information was out there, put out there by you, all the research was done, clear that you must stay broad of Martinez. According to Dr. Harris, he took the word of the Premier of Nevis. The Premier of Nevis was happy to have Martinez come into our country because some way it seemed like he was grifting off of it. Now he want to basically pull himself away and say, listen, don't tie me to Martinez and CBI. Tie Sinkits.
Hi, good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Okay, we're not getting any connection from that call. Listen, if you're having problems with that number, the Digicel line, I did hear the producer say that you might have some problems. So try the flow number, 669-7312. Try that number and see if you can get through there for us, please. I think we should also be on the 469-7953 number. So try that for me. But let me go very quickly back to this thing here that I was talking about. If this is not connecting, it means that we have a real problem on that phone line. No, we're having a problem with the Digicel number. So please don't try to catch us on the Digicel number tonight. We're having some challenges. But let me go quickly to this. It says the release from the government following a comprehensive investigation by the Ministry of National Security and so on and so on. This order resulted in the revocation of citizenship from 13 individuals and their dependents who were found to have failed to pay the statutory minimum investment required under the CBI program. The investigation stemmed from a review of 158 redacted applications and the contracts with 2 international marketing agents linked to suspicious practices. Now, here is a challenge. This seems to be the information that was provided by Martinez. At least some of the information. But if you're only going to investigate that 158, what about the other 4,000? If you are going to make these people pay the difference, according to people out there, they say we have another 400 million out there that we should collect. Why not go after those people as well? Hi, good evening, caller.
At least.
Caller, good evening.
But if you're only going to investigate...
Okay, that person is listening to their device, whatever it is. Listen, when you call, just stop listening for a brief moment, right? So that you could hear us and you could respond to us. Good evening, caller. Okay. When you call us, just move away from whatever device you're listening to. Turn on the volume and listen to the telephone so that you can hear when we answer you. Because other than that, there is going to be a bit of a delay. and you are not going to get on when we say hello, good evening, and so on. So yeah, if we have another $400 million out there to collect from people who have underpaid, why are we not going after those people?
That's a good question, but I have another question for you. After the fact, of course, I have yet to hear any complete argument or position stated by Dr. Drew as to why he accepted MSR's proposal. I'm yet to hear any explanation of that.
Which proposal?
To do movies on Synkids and to take over the purchase of OTI. Why were they so accepting of a proven fraudster? They must have known the position, the arguments have been out there circulating for some time. Their own due diligence people at CBI would have done the investigation. They have much deeper fingers and resources than I would ever have. So how come they overlooked all of those red flags? Why is it that they chose to look the other way on these matters?
Perhaps he'll say the very same thing like Harry said, that he trusted the information that came from the premier. Perhaps he's saying the same thing.
I would never accept that.
You will not accept it.
The same way I was very investigative when I heard the name MSR.
Thorough.
And it took me 2 minutes to find out everything I needed to know about MSR. 2 minutes, actually. And so when you have a person applying for CBI status and you have an entire CAU staff and agents gifted with the kind of resources to find out everything about everybody or anybody, and you somehow did they report to you that this is a red flag, or they didn't report to you because you didn't ask? Because he came from Nevis already. He was presented by Mark Brandley, Premier of Nevis. What was it that convinced Dr. Drew and Dr. Harris that they should not look any deeper than what Brandley presented to them? That is the part. That's the part that is yet to be answered, and it goes to the very heart of the idiosyncrasies of government, where any person, any white man can come here, and the politicians of the day will bend over backwards to accommodate. Why is that?
Harris answered your question.
Uh-huh.
Harris answered your question.
Okay, we're going to go to the phone lines again. Good evening, caller.
Guys, it's me again. I'm sorry to be calling back so quickly, but I'm listening to Dr. Daly, and he has some very poignant questions that he's asking. And I question myself every time. Are they given the resources to work with to get this information? Or it's just an exercise that somebody goes through and moves papers around on a desk for a while? I mean, is it really people checking into this stuff? You guys think so?
Caller, the other day when the CBI did a reinvention of itself, and they had everybody resign, or they told however the process worked, is a portion of people, you know?
Over 70 people.
It's a portion of people. So what do you want us to believe, Carla? That you have 70 people working on CBI, and they don't have people who are doing proper due diligence inside that office? They just go to work and watch one another and get a big salary every month? I don't think so. Yes.
Carlisle, when I hear... I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you.
We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. When I hear that a special office is being set up to carry on what has been carried on in Nevis for a while now, for years now, about persons moving from the diaspora and coming back to Nevis, I laugh. Because here we are now going to set up a second office to duplicate what we're already paying people to do. And I would like to think they've been doing a decent job.
Yeah, caller,
So
you
some of
switched
that-
up. You switched up on me though. We were talking CBI, and then you started
No, no,
talking
no.
returning
No,
nationals.
and my point is simply this.
Hmm.
It seems to me people are put in offices to sit down and do something, and it's not being done. It's
But-
not being done. Let's get real.
But you
Because
can't
couldn't
hire
be.
me. You can't hire me in your company and tell me that, listen, Carlisle, your job is to go out there. I have 10 acres of land. Go out there and sell these 10 acres for me. Sell them in half-acre lots. And 6 years later, you come to me and you say, but Carlisle, you've been working for 6 years. You ain't sell a half a lot. And I'm paying you every month. But the fault is not mine. The fault is yours.
Okay.
You're the owner. You must make sure that the work that is being done is done.
Thank you.
And if that is
The
not being
problem
done, you
starts-
must give me my working papers.
But here's the thing, the problem starts from the top. And so all of those who will come now and want to make something out of it, they're indicating that they never really did their jobs either.
Thank you very much.
And that's the biggest problem.
Thank you very much.
Who is watching the children while the teachers go out and play?
Thank you, caller. You have a good night.
It's maddening. Thanks, Carol.
Okay, I just want to make one quick point on that. But even before I make that point, I just found out here that our good friend Loretta Clark really lost a sister.
Yes.
I didn't know about that at all.
I wasn't permitted to say anything, so.
Oh, you were not allowed to say anything.
No.
Well, I just found out, and I'm saying it because I want to reach out and give her our condolences.
Yeah, she would have called me the day she was traveling to St. Martin, and she would have called me right after her sister passed. So I would have shared condolences from all of us, and from my family to hers, because we grew up in the same Charlestown. I knew her mother very well, and knew most of them very well, and so it just.
Yeah, well, we're reaching out with condolences. I'll have to give her a call. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you tonight?
I'm grand. Just an observation, okay? You can hire the best. You can hire the best consultants. You can get the best advice. You can get the best due diligence. But if you don't accept it or read it, if you don't read the report or act on what is in the report, this is what happens. So you don't blame the workers. They may well have done their work. But those who make the final decision, they have to accept what is in the report, or they have to at least read the report. Don't blame the workers. I'm sure they did their work.
I got you.
This is what.
Thank you very much, caller.
We have been looking at this thing, I think, a bit skewed. And I go back to my initial point that nobody at all, including myself, have really delved into the question of what responsibility does the political leadership hold for the mess that was created by MSR and Philip Martinez.
They hold it all. It is their responsibility.
Yeah, but we have not had that conversation.
Okay.
We have had accusations flying across from Dr. Drew to Dr. Harris, reverse accusations from Dr. Harris to Dr. Drew, Brantley somewhere in the middle throwing stones. But we have not yet asked the hard questions. What did you know and when did you know it? With respect to the record or the criminal record of this gentleman, why was he entertained at that high level of the government where he was having wine and cheese with the prime ministers of St. Kitts and the premier of Nevis? We have yet to hold that conversation, a serious conversation about his access to the highest halls of government, having already been convicted of fraud. How is it that he was able to access CBI for his companies? How was he able to be granted millions of dollars of taxpayers' money on Nevis with his kind of criminal record. We have yet to hear an admission from the political directorate of Sinkit and Nevis of the errors that were occurred and what has been put in place to ensure that it does not happen again. Because I guarantee you, if that was me or you approaching CBI for any sort of recognition, they'll turn me upside down, inside out. What color your drawers you wear on Sunday? We would have never been accepted. How is it that he was given the red carpet treatment, toasted with champagne by the political director of this country, and they have yet to answer that question? How did this man infiltrate the highest ranks of government to the point where he can be taking information to the U.S. courts against us? Who was playing with him? We have not heard.
And getting people's banking information.
Exactly.
But how he's trying to answer that question, when it came down, his name was called. He said that he trusted the Premier of Nevis. He did not go into any, he did not say, I did my search and waiting. He just simply, and that's what we say, he dropped the ball.
I don't want to hear that.
He did not study.
I don't want to hear that. This thing occurs too frequently among our leadership.
True.
We are any carpetbagger from anywhere in the world coming here making all sorts of promises with no money, and we accept them. We accept them. The political directorship of this country let this country down. They almost bankrupt this country because of their willingness not to look at the evidence presented to them.
Gentlemen, if Philip Martinez were a black man, he would never have had access to the Prime Minister the day after the election.
Exactly that.
Okay, let's move on. Let me remind you that we had some people who came here and wanted to do business with our airport. First of all, they tried St. Martin. No, that's not going to happen. They tried the federal government that had in Vance and Mark.
No.
The federal government said no. The people caught a boat and came to Nevis and spoke to Vance and Mark, the senior members in the Nevis Island administration, and they said yes.
Cool.
I'm going to give you one more. Philip Martinez, to the best of the information that I have, tried Barbados.
Yes, he did.
And Mayor Matley said no. He came to Nevis, and the little boy Blue said yes. I mean, listen, this thing is happening too often for it to make sense.
But
Nevis seems to be the laughing stock
But you
of
have
all
to
of the
answer
people
the
around.
question, why? Why would they come to Nevis and Nevis accept them when they are rejected by others?
Because the story would already be out there that, hey, listen, in Nevis, due diligence means you, not diligence.
Daly has a favorite saying, follow the money. And I believe that some of these leaders see how they can grift off of these investments. And so they're looking at it from their own personal benefit. I could make something out of this for myself, so they go ahead. It has nothing to do with the country.
I think in addition to that too, though, that matter with the, what's the name again? Something Global. The company that wanted to take over the airport. BNK Global or something?
No, BNL.
BNL Global. Here is the kicker for BNL Global for me. And Carlyle hinted to it. Vance Amory and Mark Brantley were privy to discussions in the federal cabinet, federal parliament and cabinet, I believe it was. They were privy to the conversation. They would have heard the report from Scasper on BNL Global that we cannot do business with these people. They would have heard that argument. The SKN government agreed. We ain't touching this. The same way St. Martin said no, St. Kitts said no. How then, if you are privy to a report from the head of Scasper in private that says we an RLB airport?
No.
No. We're not part of this. And you would then take that same group, that company, and say, you know what, come Nevis. We go have a conversation in Nevis. Under what circumstance can you forgive this? Under what circumstance can you say, this is good business? The problem Nevis was having, and remains having, is that when system came into power, they promised all good things about airlift. They promised this, and they promised that. They promised international style airport with all sorts of goodies that we're going to bring. You're going to be able to fly to New York straight from Nevis, all kind of things. And so, out of desperation, I believe, to deliver something, even if it's just an imaginary thing, they wanted to tell the people of Nevis, the process is on the way.
But you have already rejected it.
Not Nevis didn't reject them. St. Martin rejected them, and St. Kitts rejected them.
But Vance and Mark was representing Nevis and St. Kitts in the cabinet.
I hear you. But here the situation. RLB didn't have the problems that Vance Emery International have. RLB was not suffering from lack of airlift. RLB wasn't suffering from lack of investment. Vance Emery International was. And therefore, they had to find a mechanism to shut up people like me and Carl and you from cussing them. I shouldn't say cuss because.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth about them.
The old people say a drowning man would clutch at a straw.
He's
still drowned.
He's still drowned.
Still drowned, but he clutched at a straw.
So in addition to probably the grifting, they saw the smallest of possibility that this could work because we need to shut up them fellas on the NRP side.
They went ahead and signed an agreement. Nothing came of it, but they signed an agreement. Finally, let me close out this whole thing. The release from the government said that they also announced the termination in investment agreement with MSR Media St. Kitts Nevis Limited and MSR Hotels and Company Limited following multiple breaches of their contractual arrangements. And these include failures to renovate and operate key hospitality and tourism and so on and blah, blah, blah. So, breach of contract is the only breach of contract we have had. They say Mark Brantley was on radio talking a lot about a breach of contract with a quantity surveyor. They said they had taken the quantity surveyor to court because of the breach of contract. Did they go to court? Was the matter settled? Has the money been returned? What of that matter with the quantity surveyor?
There was a court matter, brief. The judge laughed it out of court. It was a strikeout, so they didn't get anywhere. I don't think the government was really interested in doing that. But
that's not the only breach that we have had.
No. But the thing about it is this: in reference to the MSR being struck off of the CBI rules, the property still belongs to investors. Get that straight. The government hasn't taken over the property. The property has not been sold on. It still belongs to those persons who paid the $12 million for it. They have lost the CBI status as MSR Hotels and as MSR Media. It does not prevent me or any other investor, even from among that group of investors, to rename it Tulu Hotel and get the same CBI.
What?
MSR is just a trade name. MSR is just a trade name. And so you still want to see the development do something, get some employment, pay some taxes. And so the physical structure remains. It still belongs to the same investors. And if they were to now reimagine themselves as under a new banner, they can get CBI. Nothing going to stop them from doing that.
I want
to work.
Of course, that's how it works. What are you going to do? Stop them because the name MSR is involved in fraud and corruption?
So you're just moving Martinez basically from the thing?
Move your way and
put somebody else in there?
Yeah.
But you mightn't even move him out of the way. You might move him from the front bench to the back bench.
To the back bench. Take off MSR name off of it and put somebody
Yeah,
else's name.
and you just zoom in so you only see the people in front of you and don't realize he's in the back. But gentlemen, I want the government to kind of just give us a short list. I mean, you revoke MSR and the agreement for breach of contract. In Nevis, how many contracts has Mark Brantley signed as Premier of Nevis for deals that have not been delivered? Start with Candy Resort. And then just keep moving down the list. It's 31 hotels they have announced in Nevis, and all of them are signings.
But I hear the man say, talk no more about that.
But you're right. Let's take a little break. When we come back, we still got a lot to talk about here and tell me. We started the show this evening without playing our sponsors ads. We're going to do that now.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Finney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
Welcome back. Tell me, we're not going to be here next week Thursday. Next week Thursday is Holy Thursday. So Daily does go fishing and Tulu and I does go church. So
Daily, you need to come to church with us too.
We keep trying. We keep trying to get him to come to church.
You need to come to church with us.
Keep trying.
He might come on, but next day is Good Friday, depending on whether or not he get a kanky. So. Okay, so we played that part of it. Now, this is from last night.
Now I hear you saying how well the country doing. So let me ask you this. If the country doing so well, how come never go borrow a loan to pay the fuel bill? I'm going to listen to you half ear to hear what you go say, because I know you got enough things to say.
All right, thank you, caller. Caller, if you understand how business works and understand that people choose to borrow when necessary, it doesn't mean that the country isn't running well because you have to borrow. I have loans. I'm sure you may have some as well. Are you paying them? Are you up to date with your loans? Are you servicing your loans? Having a loan doesn't indicate that you're not doing well. Having a loan indicates that the bank sees that you have the potential, because banks don't lend money to people who can't repay. So the mere fact that you can get a loan is an indication that the bank is satisfied that you're doing well. So having a loan or taking a loan doesn't mean anything in terms of how well you're doing. There are lots of very wealthy people out there who have loans and are paying loans. The question is, can you service the loan? So if you don't feel that Nevis is doing well, then you need to call in and really give some evidence as to why you say that. But I am speaking to what I'm seeing.
Hensley Daniel coined a phrase which he applied to Mark. He said he speaks foolishness in standard English. All that roundabout, what was the question again? How come Nevlek had to take a $10 million loan to pay for the fuel? And all we heard is, how the Peter Cabbage Mom? No response to the question is still relevant. Because I listened to the press conference recently with the Premier, and he said that, listen, the government is trying to pay Nevlec $500,000 a month on the, how much they owe? 60 million? About 60 million. They're trying to pay $500,000 a month on 60 million. So you work out how long it's going to take them to pay that. But more than that, if the bill for government to Nevlec is $1 million a month, and they're paying $500,000 a month, is not reducing, you know? It's actually increasing by 6 million a year.
The Premier said that is going well.
The country is going good.
The country is going
and the maths are good.
Yeah, maths are good. That's what he said.
Lord help me.
The thing about that non-answer is this. We are talking about an operational cost. Operational cost. I don't think Bill Gates go and borrow $10 million to put fuel in his jet plane. I don't think a taxi driver who owns a fleet of taxis go and borrow a couple $1,000s to put gas in his vehicles. These are operational things. If Nevlec had borrowed $10 million to buy a new engine or to buy a container load of transmission lines, things that are, you know,
we use over a period of time.
Yeah.
Storing things. Storing up.
But you don't go borrow money to put fuel in your car.
Pause a minute, gentlemen. Listen, if you're calling us on the digital line, which is the one that is ringing, we're having some problems connecting on that digital line. So you call us on 669-7312. Call us on the floor number, 669-7312. I really don't know what's up with our digital line tonight, but that's not working. So call us on the floor number, 669-7312. The WhatsApp number is working. The overseas line, I'm told, is also working, but we're having challenges with the 766-7312. Don't call us on that. It's not connecting tonight. We apologize, but that's not working for us tonight.
The landline working?
I think so.
So give them the landline number.
Yeah. That's behind me there. That's the 469-7953. The digital number, I'm told, is not working. So let's not try that tonight because we're not going to get you on the air with that. So we're back to this Nevlec situation. It's getting worse.
It's kind of really strange that the Premier would choose to answer a question in that format. I mean, it's so evasive. The question was very pointed. All right? And he turned it into a personal thing, he sees. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure you got loans. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that. You're talking about capital expenditure, where you're borrowing money from a bank to buy an engine or to buy cables, whatever it is. But operational expenses, you shouldn't have to go to a bank to borrow $10 million to pay for fuel. And the reason why Nevlec is put in that position is because the greatest debtor of the utility is the government. If the government was paying their full cost for what they purchased from what the bill is, Nevlec would be able to buy whatever they want and service their fuel bill as the fuel is being used. But it can't happen like that because the money is not flowing in from the government. And so the Nevlec was on the brink of being disconnected from the fuel supply at Delta. They were on the brink of being terminated. And so they had to get a loan. That is the crux of the matter, and that is what the caller was asking. Why does Nevlec have to get a loan? Because Nevlec has been put in the red by this government, and they can't afford to buy even fuel without a loan.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. This Nevlec thing, having to borrow money to pay for fuel, which I assume means that they haven't been paying for the fuel on a timely basis.
They haven't.
Okay. Just an interesting observation again. Geothermal. It it's going to be a federal asset, right? Well, what is going to happen with Nevis pay the bill? They're going to go for more money again? Because the electricity from geothermal is not free.
No.
It has to recover the capital expenditure, which is gigantic. It has to recover maintenance and so on. So if they can't pay for diesel, are they going to be able to pay for geothermal?
Well, the tariff will be set by the federal government. The money is generated from geothermal will be controlled by the federal government. And so if they don't want to collect from the government of Nevis, then that's for them. But that's the way things are looking up to me right now, that, you know, the NIA has very little say in how that tariff is administered.
Regardless of how much they say they have.
Regardless. I mean, we have lost control of geothermal, so whatever happens after now is on us.
So this fuel bill, even if we go to geothermal, all I'm saying is this is going to rear its head again.
Of course. I mean, I anticipate that a new company will be formed between Nevis and Skelec that deals solely with geothermal, and the companies that exist now, Skelec and Nevis, would be the companies that basically run the utility. But in terms of the geothermal production and all that energy, I believe that a separate company will be formed and controlled by majority Synkits.
But that company will have to get paid on a monthly basis.
They will have to get paid. Maybe they take it to maybe they take it to a fair share.
All right.
Thank you very much, caller. Okay, so
let me say one more thing about this bill, Carlisle, because it is very vexing. Because I heard the premier at this press conference, or was it on a radio program, saying that they are paying the $500,000 a month when Nevis calls, basically. It's not all the time they pay it. And that they have to deal with the remnants of what NRP left there 12 years, I mean, how many years ago? 10 years ago? 2013 to now? 12 years? 12 years ago. They're saying that NRP left, on the JW Parole left significant bills at there. And I'm wondering whether NRP would have met bills left there by CCM when they came to power in 2006. Government is continuous. And I don't understand why he always reverts back to blame NRP for his own failures. If you met a bill here for $10 million, the priority will be to clear it off and continue, because government is continuous.
good evening, caller.
Hey, good night. Good night, Tulu.
Good night, Brods.
Allow me to say good night to my friend down there, Elmo. Good night to you and family. If things are running so good in Nevis as it's being said, how come you have workers over in have to go to Barbados to get work? So the contractors and have to go to Barbados to get work. If things are running so good in Nevis, how come the people, the contractors, them that work at the Culturama since last year ain't getting paid? If things are running so good in Nevis, how come you have a situation where the people who was involved in Culturama ain't getting paid? Those who were involved in Culturama ain't getting paid. If things are going so good in Nevis, how come we can't get the broiler, the chicken machine factory get going? If things are running so good, how come divisions have to be going over to Synkit to find employment, especially the heavy equipment? And then how come public works had to go over to Synkit to work for a private firm over there? They wasn't working for the federal government, they were working for a private firm. So which means to say they would have been getting money. So I am wondering if all these things are happening, They say that things are good in Nevis. How come so much things are happening? Let's look at the windmill, the wind farm over there. So much wind, most times recently. If any working, you only have at the most 2, if any working. And so it makes me wonder, how is it that things are running good? You say that you things are running good, but still no investors come in. But to make it even worse, you are saying that the country running on fumes. If you say so, you say so. You run in the country, so the country supposed, you say the country running good, but still they running on fumes. And when I believe when such thing happen, like the country reach as far as running on fumes, next thing is going to happen is an explosion. Are we going to wait until the country explodes to get it out of the fumes, or to get it out of the situation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. Interesting questions, important questions
too. Very important question. It goes to the point. But Brandy knows better. He's trying. This is a smokescreen. He knows very well that things are not going good, because when things are going good, people feel it. You can see the activity in the economy. You see the spending in the economy. You ask any storekeeper, any shopkeeper, any business owner in Charlestown in particular, from the biggest trading houses to the smallest, they'll tell you things have evaporated. Business has disappeared. So I don't know what economic indicator he's using to measure how things are going good, but it can't be any standard economic indicator that economists would use.
Imaginary. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carla, Daly, and Tulu.
Good evening.
I just have one little thing to add to the list. Just one. If things are going so well, why is it taking us 7 years to build and complete the hospital? If things are going so well. That's all I want to add. The caller probably forgot that one.
Thank you very much. You were kind. You said 7 years, but it's more like 8 years. 2017 until now.
Daryl, let me ask you a serious question. You do not believe that Mark Brantley has convinced himself that Nevis is going well?
No. I think he's trying to convince the electorate that things are going well. He knows as a far fact that things are not going well.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Good night again. See here, if things are going well, right? How come the taxpayers have to, the people have to pay more taxes? If things are going well, I mean, if you are running a shop and things are going good in the shop, you're going to just carry up the price? So these are concerns. I mean, if things are running good, we shouldn't have to pay. The tax should not be increased. Thank you.
You got a point. I got you. Listen, let's check in with our sponsors again and come back. We got to make sure that they get the due, because we want to make sure that the money comes in so we could pay the rent and so on.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Finney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
And welcome back to Tell Me. And this is as good a point as any for us to send out our congratulations to those youngsters who have been selected by the Leewards for the Leewards under 15 training squad. We sent off 8 players to Antigua last week Saturday, and we got the news last night that 6 of those 8 have been picked by the Leewards for the tournament, which is a West Indies tournament which will be played in Antigua. So I'm reaching out and saying congratulations to Trion Daniel, Demari Prentice, Caris Bolo Farrell, who is the vice captain, Aiden Williams, Randre Daniel, Mikey Sigolan. Those are the players from Nevis, and alongside them will be Kaelan Woods from St. Kitts, Kyan Macau from St. Martin, Jathan Edwards from St. Martin, Ali Adoni from St. Kitts, Shevante Powell from St. Kitts, Andre Peters from Antigua and Barbuda, William Pittman from Antigua and Barbuda, and Jaquan Athens from Antigua and Barbuda. So those are the names of the 14 members, and you would note that 6 of those 14 are from Nevis. The next high number in terms of from any one island would be 3 from St. Kitts and 3 from Antigua Barbuda. So again, congratulations not just to them, but to coaches Stuart Williams, Wendell Micey Wallace, and everybody else who have worked hard with these youngsters over the long period of time to get them ready. The next step now is for us to see how well they can perform, and I know that some of the parents will be going up to Antigua to support their children. We wish you all the best. I particularly want to single out and give a special mention to the Daniels. Over the years, Randre has been a part of the team, and his twin brother, Trion, has not been as successful. This year, even when he was not initially invited by the Leeward Islands selectors to go to the camp, his parents decided, hey, listen, we think that he has the ability. We're going to make sure that we can get him there. Just get us permission to get him there. And we feel that if he is there, he's going to make the team. So, Ron and your lovely wife, we want to say we are so proud of you for taking that bold step, because in the first game, Trion put up his hand. He got a half century and he picked up 3 wickets, and there was no looking back. So he's in the 14-member squad. We're reaching out and saying congratulations to all of the children, but in particular to Trion, who had to come from behind to cross the line. I like that kind of attitude. And again, this tournament is going to, the camp was in Antigua, the tournament is going to be played in Antigua. I went down to St. Kitts to work on the women's tournament, which was played in St. Kitts. I'm down there, I've been down there working on the men's tournament that is being played in St. Kitts. The Leeward Islands under 17 and under 19 tournament will be played in St. Kitts starting next week, Monday.
What happened to Nevis?
The West Indies under 19 tournament will be played in St. Kitts. So, listen, I was so pleased today when I saw ministers posting about the 6 fellows who had made the team and puffing up their chest and saying congratulations. I'm glad, because I hope that some way their consciences would tell them that they must do some work at the E.T. Willett Park. That's if they got any conscience. Do some work on the E.T. Willett Park so we can host some games too. I mean, last year we had 2 different sets of inspections and people told us what to do. I fix up the park now. Do something so that our children can perform at home too. Imagine if this tournament, the under 15, was being played in Nevis. You know how many people would have come out to support the children? How many parents and friends and guardians would come to the park to support those children? But it's Antigua. People got to buy a plane ticket to go to watch their children perform. And the E.T. Willett Park is up there. No sensible work has been done on that for the last 40 years.
Could it be that the government and the Premier will look at this the very same way they look at the Monday truck and the pier? You say, well, people are using it, so since they're using it, we don't need to invest. And if the park is in this condition and we have 6 players meet the Leeward Island team, then we don't have to do anything.
But we can't host regional matches. We can't even host under 19 matches.
That is how that thing gonna do weird.
Oh, okay.
But let me ask you something. If you're Brooks and you have very little resource, you got a flailing and a failing hospital project to deal with. You ain't got no money.
But your boss is saying things are going good.
Hold on now. You know what they say.
Oh, okay.
Hi, good evening, caller. Hello, good evening, caller.
I just want to ask one question. Do you think this administration understands sports tourism?
I know they don't.
Okay, thank you.
If they did, they would have been much more involved. All the trips, all the talk you heard the Premier talk about Bermuda and so on. We've been having discussions with the Bermuda Cricket Association about them bringing age group teams here to Nevis in the summer. The Premier went to Bermuda, say he loved cricket. Didn't ask the Cricket Association a single question. We could have told him the people in Bermuda to talk to and start making the connection so that we can be hosting those age group teams. And we could have been talking to him and telling him how to improve the ETW park so that we can have teams come here to pre-season. You know how many teams from England, schoolboy teams, go all over the world every year? They're looking for some place with a nice weather and so on from December all the way down to when the season starts in April. Nevis is not in a position to host any of those because we don't understand sports tourism.
There's a gentleman here on Nevis. He is the head honcho for cricket in Bermuda, Mr. Douglas.
Visits often.
Yeah, he's here right now. He'll be here for a little bit. And I would hope that before he goes back, that somebody would have a conversation with him.
I hope so.
Because he has a lot to offer. But let's...
Real estate and cricket.
Caller, you wanted to make another input?
I think you need to hang up.
Okay.
The issue is that this government, they can't find money to finish the hospital for years now, over 7 years, going on 8 years. They are caught between a rock and a hard place when it comes to the airport. You think you think that these guys are going to prioritize cricket when they have other pressing matters to deal with? I mean, when the gravy was running between 2015 and 2022, if they didn't do it then, when the gravy was hot and piping, hundreds of millions of dollars flying across the shark-infested waters to the treasury on Nevis and to the accounts at housing and land. If that didn't happen then, what are the chances it's going to happen now?
Gentlemen, the major concern that I have is that it seems to me the only relevance that the government has for the ETW park is when you have a big funeral or when you have the agriculture food fest.
And that is how it's going to remain. As long as this government stays this government, it will remain so. You have a minister of sports, Eric Evelyn. You have a premier who I don't think he knows to hold a bat.
Could play rounders.
Eric plays rounders. But there is no urgency. There is no connection to the history of cricket on Nevis. And for that, a lot of us are to blame because we pride ourselves on being the world stage with cricket. Mm-hmm. With cricket. How many cricket grounds are there on Nevis versus how many basketball courts are on Nevis? There's a basketball court almost in every village. Are there batting cages in every village?
No.
No. We have lost all direction in terms of prioritizing what is important to us. And we've allowed whoever it is or whatever circumstance to introduce basketball. Has anybody from Nevis even played on a college level team for basketball? So these young men you just mentioned there who are heading to Antigua, what are the support infrastructure on Nevis to help them craft their skill, to help them hone that skill? Very little or next to nothing. They have to work damn hard to get where they are on pure skill. Think about it when you compare that to what the Australians are investing in their young people, the British export, the Indians and the Pakistanis, the Afghanis. We have lost our direction and prioritizing the wrong things. I would like to see there's a batting cage up at Gingerland at the hard court, but there's a basketball court there. There's one in Brownhill, Bath. You go around the island to Whitehall, you name it, they're everywhere. Church ground. Government has spent all kind of thousands of dollars to get it ready for Culturama. And then what?
It'll Culturama again.
We are not serious as a country about cricket. We say we are, but we are not, because we don't put the expenditure towards showing that we get serious.
Good evening, caller.
Good night, Carla and Tulu.
How are you tonight?
Mr. Daly.
Good evening.
I'm down.
Tulu, nice meeting you last week.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, man, you gotta come back, because we gotta do some tour, around Port Zante. I want to carry on a building where we could see the icon. Try come down here when the icon is in, so you could get the beauty and show these guys the picture up there. Because this fellow we got near Mark Brantley, he gotta go. He's no good for Nevis. And the youngsters, them mother, who gone over to Antigua, we want to wish them all the best.
The parents ain't gone yet, but they're going soon.
Especially the young one who can't say he didn't in the team, but the parent them know what he could do and they invest in him. That's what we want. But we just don't want that. We want them to come in on the ear and talking. Because Mark Brantley mean nothing for Nevis. It's like a Stoyland when he coming down. I watch him coming from the assembly the other day, Carlisle. You know where Dwyer them place me? And he's stepping away. And so he's stepping, everybody just watch him. Everybody just watch him. It's time to go, Mark. Pack up and go now, man, and give the lady a chance. Look where you got Nevis. Look where Nevis is at this moment. Tulu and Mr. Daly, I heard you all on a Saturday show talking about what patches do should have happened in the Nevis. And Carly, I don't want you to forget the bridge, because we got a little talk on the bridge. Think it's Nevis should have done got the bridge to bring both island closer, to generate some money. But he freed Joe, you see. Joe got him where you want him, Because I know Sir Daniel, that couldn't work on Sir Daniel, but taking all of you at home, you crazy? They shouldn't happen, and these people should be damn upset about that, and where you going with it? They're playing game. They're playing game. This is not we sugar cane. This is something you're trying to get off over there. Even you sign the money through the CDB to get it approved and get the drilling starting and so. Man, let the people handle the thing. Just put up the money and see it through. It take him off for that, and people got to come because I know he gonna work with Miss Daniel, and the bridge gonna come, and we want a course to be over there, and we want a slip, a little marina for the fishers. Man, they should be ashamed of themselves. The money blind. They don't care. Can I? You remember he used to tell us, hear how he boasting and say, "Mo, there's the man for the whatever they call it,
MSR.
The MSR. And you realize now the man that say he right in the middle of it. He right in the man, he's a deadly fellow. He's a real snake a conduct patches. Have a good night, Tolo. Play for this country. We need to.
Good night, my friend.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Care bringing it to the poor people because we ain't gonna stop until we get the wicked clean.
Thank you very much.
We wicked where the ball could spin both ways. We want to check. Go out of the thing. Let the woman come in. It's time now to see something different. It's women time. Give JD and them a chance. Let her pull themselves. Have a good night, everybody.
You have a good night, Jam them. We were on the cricket thing there. The under 17 and under 19 tournament that will be played down there in St. Kitts starting next week. I think Nevis play Monday. The tournament starts next week down there in St. Kitts. It's 4 teams taking part. St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, St. Martin. Those are the teams taking part. It's not a cheap tournament. It costs us almost $20,000 to participate. And we're not sleeping down. We got to catch the boat every day. So you have to add on another $1,000 a day to catch the boat, to go down there to play the cricket. What we want, and what we've been saying all along, is a partnership with the government. Because the Cricket Association is just running the cricket in trust for the people of Nevis. It's not our cricket. You know, we're running it in trust. We want to give the youngsters an opportunity. And that is why I was down there in St. Kitts working this game and following the game that was being played in Antigua. Because we had a fellow up there in the team named Carlon Tuckett. And I always want Carlon to do well. He has worked extremely hard at his game, this cricket game that he's playing. And, you know, you applaud bowlers when they take 5 wickets in an inning. Carlon had 9 dismissals as a wicketkeeper in the game.
How many stumpings?
At least 4.
So some quick ones.
At least 4 stumpings and 5 catches. So I want, and he missed out on a half century. He got 40 something. I think he's 46 in the game when he batted. They beat up on the windwards.
Let me ask you
easily.
something. I mean, I admire your passion for this, Carlisle. You have always been a champion for the cricket on Nevis and in St. Kitts, and you've officiated in many games. You've been on the Leeward Islands cricket board and all these things. Where is the investment from the government?
We got the government to provide some covers for us last year.
I'm talking about covers.
Infrastructure?
I'm talking about I love cricket. I love West Indies cricket. I don't care how badly they perform. I understand the circumstances.
And I can still get up tonight to watch the women.
Okay. All right. Do we have any plans for a cricket academy in St. Kitts and Nevis?
St. Kitts would tell you that they have the Len Harris Cricket Academy, where they have nets and so on and so on. We have something on the top of the hill there that they call the Livingston Sargent Cricket Academy. That needs a lot of work. You need to improve that plentyfold if you're going to give our cricketers a chance to develop. First of all, you need a natural pitch up there. Right now, we just have the 3 pitches, which are artificial. You don't have a natural pitch up there. You don't have an area where the bowlers could run off and run up and practice their craft. And you need new bowling machines. Those bowling machines up there are useful, but they're not modern. And so you need to be able to get some proper bowling machines and good lighting and make it available so that young people can go up there to train. I mean, Stuart Williams...
So you need everything.
You need everything. Stuart Williams does a tremendous amount of work. He has his young son, Aiden, who is coming along nicely. But Stuart is not a selfish person. He opened up the thing 6 o'clock a morning. The fellows were up there training by Stuart. Good evening, caller.
Carly.
Hi.
I had to come back because when I hear Livingston Sargent name, I can't believe it. But you don't think it's Nevis Livingston play most of the cricket. And you don't hear people mention his name and his contribution around the Leewards and think it's in Nevis, especially Nevis. Carla, you come from the older age, eh? Me no young boy. And I know what Livingston do. But we need an archive, we need an academy in Nevis. That what you're talking about should be fixed. It should be fixed. I asked her already if this fella ever play cricket, because when he talk like he play the game. And nobody who play the game and in them kind of position will go back, look so. This man ain't gonna shame. Good night, El Camino and your wife. This fella ain't have no shame. But teeth and tongue will tell, man. The time is coming. Young people, wake up. Wake up. That's what Tulo told me. I coming against her, you know. I coming against her, yo. I ever want this man match up Nevis. It's time for the guy to go. Have a good night again.
You have a good night.
Well, Colonel, you what you basically described is a non-functional academy where everything is needed. I admire Stuart and his son, but there are many persons out there. If they had the guidance of a father like Tuckett, they probably would have excelled, or around Daniel. But many kids out there will not have that opportunity. And I'm just saying that we can sit here all night and talk about the exceptional cases of excellence.
The talented ones will make it.
They will make it regardless.
But you need help.
And I'm just saying that our priorities in the Federation of Sinkers and Nevis, in regards to cricket, and especially Nevis, has been asked backwards. And I've been saying it for years. We have not put in the sort of infrastructure that will convince anybody coming into this country that 7 divisions made it to the West Indies side. You would not see it.
You're right. Daily, I've been telling people all along, we spent conservatively 100 million on the peace program. Suppose we had spent 100 million on education, providing scholarships for people with talent, but who broke to go away to study. Suppose we had spent a fraction of that, 50 million, on sports, and because I am very passionate about cricket, suppose we had spent some of that on the ETW park. I mean, look at what we would have had in terms of returns. I might not have been working in St. for the last month. I might have been working at ETW. I might have been able to say, okay, all right, this is what we are doing for our young people who need to play in the very best of facilities. I mean, we're encouraging ladies to play cricket, and we are launching the Five for Fun this year on the 8th of next month. So, we have young girls playing the game. But when those young girls go to play cricket at Brownhill, where do they change? There are no change rooms at Brownhill. There are no change rooms at VOJN. And oftentimes the change rooms at the ETW are locked up. So how are we going to encourage our young girls to play the game? And by the way, we just had an agreement with West Indies Cricket Board where we're going to be doing an under-16 female program between now and September next year. Where are those young girls going to train? Where are they going to change?
Well, the question, these are all vexing questions. But it comes back to the same thing I've always been saying, that the persons involved in all of our sporting activities, the participants, the athletes, they're the ones being disadvantaged by the system. But are they and their parents making the connection between the status at which they find themselves and the responsibility of government? You have a whole sports department. You have reams of sports officers being paid by the taxpayers. You have a director of sports. You have all kinds of people attached to the schools. Heavy with bureaucracy.
No facility.
And the most basic facilities are lacking. So all you're doing is providing employment for persons to be there without the requisite equipment and facilities to deliver. So why are we pretending when we get failure? Why are we pretending that this shouldn't happen when we know the writing is on the wall that it will happen?
But
because we have not invested correctly.
You're seeing it as failure. The government is saying
I don't care what shit the government is saying.
No?
I'm not care what the government says.
So they're not going to do nothing.
The facts are on the wall for
But it's
everybody to
true.
see. So don't tell me no stupidness.
Let me go to the phone
this
line.
And government that.
Tulu like to play devil's advocate.
No.
He couldn't live in my grandmother's house because she didn't want the devil in the house.
It is a reality. We had the Mondo track the way it is, and the premier was boxing. Look, we had athlete went to Carifta.
Tulu,
He is not doing nothing.
we're going to the phone line. You can't always follow people who talk foolishness. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
I am getting better and better.
All right, Tulu, my brother.
My brother, good evening.
Okay. First up, let me say congratulations to all those youngsters who got selected, even though 2 didn't make it, kudos to them too, because, that's a major achievement, to the parents and everybody else who helped to get them shaped up in farm to get there. I know we are on the topic of the cricket and everything, and what has seemed to, in my view, be a hit list for the CCM, because I say hit list because they seem to be killing a lot of things. Cricket, football, you name it. One of the things I want to talk about, which is important, that a lot of people seem to have put on the back burner, is the issue of the village festivals. Under an NRP government, we had at least per year 3 village festivals or parish festivals. I can think of the SCT Fest, the Gingerama, and in St. James's we had Winfest. If my memory serves me correctly, I think the last Gingerama would have been about 2019. SCT Fest would have been about the same thing. Well, Winfest, they're still using the name. I think we probably need to just patent that name, so they would have to pay royalties to use it, because it has gotten to a point now where you have moved from having 3 parish festivals to basically none. And people maybe who are not involved don't seem to understand the importance of these festivals. When you put on these festivals, the bands, they get paid. You have the drag race, people come over from St. Kitts, the gas stations, guest houses, and you name it. It's economic activity. You're generating economic activity. But under the CCM, all these 3 parish festivals have passed away and died a very sad and painful death. So yeah, CCM is killing everything. I just wanted to bring that to the fore. You gentlemen have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, we're going to take a final break. But before we take that break, I want to play a couple of clips again from last night so that you can get an idea as to where the Premier's brain is, if you use any brain at all.
In relation to the agriculture, I have not had an update in terms of that 2025 by 25. I think that was the CARICOM pledge. So I am not in a position to answer you on that in terms of where we are. But I certainly will get the stats and try to come back on the next occasion.
That is a normal answer coming from the Premier. Anytime you ask him a question, he does not have the facts. He gonna get the answer. He gonna come back to you, but he never ever come back to you. The Premier don't seem to know anything at all. Don't seem to learn much. But go back a little bit, because he had something to say about the 25 by 2025.
Well, I believe, Carl, that it's a lofty ambition to reduce the imports of some items by 25% by 2025. But you would realize 2025 is upon us. As people say, by next week is 2025, because we are now middle of November, and December is going to go by quickly because of the Christmas and all of that, and then you're into 2025. So whether or not we will be able to achieve that in St. Kitts and Nevis, I feel is doubtful. That is my own take. I am looking forward to the budget discussions because I definitely would like to hear the report from the Federal Minister of Agriculture in relation to where we are at this point in terms of meeting our commitment. In Nevis, the Minister of Agriculture in Nevis, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, has said that he feels confident that Nevis can get to the target, but I'm waiting to hear his report in the budget discussions, which will happen starting on the 3rd of December. So, for me, the jury is out. We will have to wait and see what the reports look like, because the Ministers of Agriculture would have access to the data in terms of what is being produced and where we are in terms of that commitment that we would have made on that reduction by 25%.
That's November of last year. I deliberately played the clip from last night first because I wanted to play it a second time after playing the clip from last year, November. He had December, January, February, March, and all this week and change in April. So you're talking about 5 months and change. And this is his response that he gave last night.
In relation to the agriculture, I have not had an update in terms of that 25 by 25. I think that was the CARICOM pledge. So I am not in a position to answer you on that in terms of where we are. But I certainly will get the stats and try to come back on the next occasion.
Tell me if that sounds familiar.
On the geothermal project, I want to say that my update is I do not have an update. Geothermal, I don't have any fresh news. I wish I knew that you would ask the question about fiscal performance, because I have the numbers. I just don't have them with me. You asked about the broiler project. I really do not have an update, but I assure you the next time I come back, I hope to have an update. I did not speak to the minister prior to coming here. CBI revenue on the fair share issue, I do not have a report on that. Status of the Alexandra Hospital, I don't have an update today. The broiler industry in Nevis, again, I do not have an update that I can give. Geothermal update, I have no further updates since the last time.
Gentlemen, I suggest that if anybody is going to call in and ask the premier a question, ask him something easy, like, what is your name?
He can tell you don't know.
He don't
remember.
It's laughable, actually, if he wasn't so sad and serious, that we have a head of a country, a head of an island, head of the NIA, who, from what he's saying, does not get timely reports from his ministers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know if I had read a report regarding a 25 by 25 promise CARICOM made,
you'd remember.
I would remember. I would remember. And at least the skeleton of it I would remember. And here he is in April saying that he had not yet gotten the report from the minister, or he does not have the figures from the minister. 2025 in November last year, he mentioned the fact that he believes the minister believes that he can make the cut for 25%. Let me explain for people who are not knowledgeable about the 25 by 25. CARICOM would have made an agreement among heads of government and CARICOM that they will reduce import bills by 25% and produce 25% of our own food to substitute. So that is the idea, 25 by 25. 25% substitution of imports. The broiler project on Nevis was to take care of much of that promise, that we'll start producing much of our broiler meat as part of the 25 by 25 arrangement. The broiler plant, even though it broke ground in May 2023, has yet to be built. The project has basically come to a screeching halt. The Premier knows this because he has not allowed any allocation of monies towards the plant. He said it in, I think it's January, that he has instructed his ministers to forgive him for the fact that he's going to focus on the hospital. You remember the conversation?
I do. I do.
That he's going to focus on the hospital. Every cent going to go toward the hospital. Fine, okay. Well, then show us the hospital. Show us what you have done. And so he's been totally disingenuous when he says he doesn't have a report because he knows there's nothing close to 25 by 25. He knows it. He knows it. All right? Because if he knew it was good news, he would have said so. He know it can't be good news. It's all bad news.
So he has information.
He has information, but it doesn't look good. It's not good information.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Good night. Why, I don't know. Nevis really ain't going good, huh? You mean as a head of a country, every time a question is being asked, I don't have the answer. What is the use of you being there? Because one person might ask the question, but other persons listening for an answer. The whole other persons listening for an answer and want to get a proper answer. So what is the sense being there? You're wasting people's time. That's not good enough, man. And another thing again, right? We have to get very, very serious about food security in Nevis, especially when so much in the world you have so much tariffs, what you call the word, is being imposed on us. We need to get serious so that we can get food for our people in this country. I don't know if the PS agriculture has been installed yet. I don't know. These are this agriculture is a very, very important ministry for the people of Nevis. We need to get this thing organized properly so that people can be more self-fed in Nevis. The monkey situation, all these, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I think as people will always say, this man needs to just pack up. Leave no man. Man, you're not capable of handling him, but you're killing the whole country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I need to play 2 clips quickly so that we can get you to comment. I really have 3, but let me do the hospital.
In relation to the hospital project, that's something that we've updated on almost on a monthly basis in terms of my monthly press conference. And what I can say to you is that we are working very closely with the Taiwanese government in relation to that particular project. We have a construction firm from Taiwan that we have engaged, and we anticipate, as we have pledged, that project will resume this year. Once we have timelines, I will bring those timelines and we will have an appreciation of where we are. But that particular project of the hospital, we have updated and updated, caller. So perhaps you have not been paying attention, but certainly it is something that I agree with you needs to be finished, and we have committed that it will be finished. And so we expect to resume work this year.
Gentlemen, he said he has updated on the hospital project, but that's not true.
He is updated that he doesn't know the update.
Okay. No, you got it right. Okay, let's play the next clip.
The hospital would have started renovation around 2017 or expansion?
Yes, it started in towards the end of 2017.
Well, and that was budget to take how long?
We didn't have a budget as to the time, I don't think, but I believe that the extension was anticipated to be about 2 years.
Right. So, and this is now probably almost 10 years. So that is what I was just wondering.
2017 till now is 10 years?
No. I'm saying almost 10 years.
Oh,
it is
okay.
about 2 years short of 10 years, which is still quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering why the expansion is taking so long.
But caller, I said to you that is an update that is regularly given to the people of Nevis. If you have not been listening, well, I can't help you.
All the time, yeah.
So I'm telling you, I've regularly updated the people on that. I did it as recently as my press conference to indicate that where we are, what we're doing. Just tonight you called and I told you where we are and what we're doing. What else would you require of me at this point? The project has been delayed. We had the intervention of COVID for 2 years. We had some redesign issues. We have gone over this over and over ad nauseum with the people. What I can say is that we've not been spending any money, so we're not over budget. but the project stopped for a variety of reasons. Initially it was COVID, and then we had the need to do some redesign on the internal space. The shell is complete, the exterior is complete, but the internal sections of the hospital, that's where the technical aspects were, and that is what we're getting guidance on from our friends in Taiwan. I have said this over and over and over.
Well, I hope that gets completed, get complete as quick as possible.
It will be completed, caller.
Gentlemen, let me play this again.
On the geothermal project, I want to say that my update is I do not have an update. Geothermal, I don't have any fresh news. I wish I knew that you would ask the question about fiscal performance, because I have the numbers, I just don't have them with me. You asked about the broiler project. I really do not have an update, but I assure you the next time I come back, I hope to have an update. I did not speak to the minister prior to coming here. CBI revenue on the fair share issue, I do not have a report on that. Status of the Alexandra Hospital, I don't have an update today. The broiler industry in Nevis, again, I do not have an update that I can give. Geothermal update, I have no further updates since the last time.
No matter what you ask the Premier, he does not have an update. Let us get the update on the airport then.
You've asked again about the update on the airport. I feel like I'm having to repeat myself because these are updates that are being given regularly, caller. They've been given at press conferences and been given in press releases. The airport project is ongoing. We anticipate that we will break ground soon on that project to get that project over the finish line. And as I said, we continue to update on those projects on a regular basis.
Nevis Brooks. Nevis ain't got no money. The hospital project was supposed to be the important project in Nevis this year. The Premier said that he had told his ministers, listen, we're prioritizing the hospital project. That is the project that must get done. And they will break ground in the first quarter. 12 months in the year. So if you divide the 12 by 4, you get 3. January, February, March. We're out of the first quarter. The airport project was supposed to break ground in the first quarter as well. None of those projects going any place. We just heard last night for the first time, at least me, just heard for the first time that they had engaged a Taiwanese firm to help with the hospital. I knew that they had been having some discussions because they said it. But he said they had engaged, which suggests that they have entered into a formal agreement with the Taiwanese. But my understanding is that every single body that they have spoken to about that hospital project have come back with one recommendation. Push it down and start again. Push down the 20-something million dollars that has been spent and start again. But the Premier last night got very upset when callers asked him for updates on the hospital and the Nevis question, asked him about the airport. I don't know why he went last night, because he just got angry anytime anybody asked him a question. And questions, the answers to which the people are owed.
But you see, Carla, it's been 3 years, just about 3 years, since any work has happened at the hospital. He can claim, given the 2 years of COVID, fine. That takes up to 2019. I mean, 2021, 2021, yeah. We're now in 2025. We have had no work done at all for the last 3 years, at all. He has been speaking about engaging the Taiwanese for years. The quantity survey came back in December 2023. December 2023 came back, if I'm correct. Yeah. We have not seen, heard, whatever is contained in that document, we have not seen it. He's been hidden from the people of Nevis. If he had confidence that this indeed was a good document and show the government in a good light that they're on the right path, I think he would have shared it.
Absolutely.
But the information, I've never seen anything so top secret as this document is, this quantity survey. We have no idea what is contained in there. But he keeps talking about the Taiwanese coming to help. A company from Taiwan coming to help to rescue this project. He had to go all the way to Taiwan. All the way.
The days where he should have gone from the beginning.
To get help. And this is the problem. You create a mess. A big mess. That you are responsible for. Because you knew when the contract was handed to Spencer Brand, he was not nowhere qualified to do it.
Correct.
And so you've cost the people of Nevis tens of millions of dollars and continuing to cost us money. Because you favored expediency over correctness. You favored making sure that your colleague had money to run his campaign in St. Paul's over the best interest of the people of Nevis. And so it contract was handed to Brand. And now we have to suffer the consequences of that colossal mistake. People must understand this was brought on us just like MSR was brought on the people of Nevis like a plague. That hospital was brought on the people of Nevis like a plague. And we are still paying for that plague. And we will continue to pay for that plague.
Let's take our last brief call because it's coming up to 10 o'clock. Good evening, caller.
I'm going to be quick, caller. Mr. Daly, you think Mark is just spiteful?
Part of that too.
If everybody tell him, Carly, the hospital got to revamp and start again. Why had a hospital in the end of joking business, you know? By Mark, it's time, you know. It's time. As the old people will say, man, just go and leave me alone. Go and leave us, no, Mark. You can't do that. Go and leave us alone. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Before I forget, somebody in the restaurant business looking for somebody to serve. If you are interested, call me. 762-6157. Let me put you on to the contact. Yeah, you might get a little work. Might be somebody out of school.
Are you looking at work?
We now open the breakfast stand again. Don't finish.
Oh, yeah, forget about that. Yeah,
we got to write the application to the premier.
Yeah.
Let us write to him directly. He said we should open a breakfast stand down Pennies. I could work. I'd like to work the morning shift.
So you're going to give you the last chunk of land down there to put on the stand?
We don't need all the portion of land. We just want a little space to put down the breakfast stand.
No, because just in one breakfast stand, we have to have the coconut, the sugar cake shop with coconut, and the black pudding. So we need a bigger place.
You got a point. You got a point. Gentlemen, let's go. Brantley, not Brantley. We don't have a Brantley here. Daly, you were finishing up that point, and then I want you to lead straight into your closing statement.
Yeah. It's really tragic that we've allowed this sort of situation to continue to fester on Nevis. This is an impeachable offense. This is an impeachable offense. This is the epitome, the very definition of a conflict of interest, of misfeasance and malfeasance in public office. Because had it not been for the association between Spencer Brand as a candidate for CCM St. Paul's and the Premier of Nevis and the CCM machinery, that mistake would not have happened.
It's a mistake that you will fall.
Well, what do you call it? I'm not going to be splitting words, whether it's mistake or whatever it is. The fact remains that this government here committed a cardinal sin on the people of Nevis.
True.
It put our health care on pause. At a time when there are so many cases of persons dying left, right, and center, the promise of this hospital was to alleviate the suffering among family members, among population. You're going to have diagnostic. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. 2017, the promises were made. We are now in 2025. And the confidence that they said we should have in the public health care system has evaporated. Because the government has failed to deliver on what they promised to deliver, which is a proper diagnostic wing housed in the hospital extension. That's what they promised. 7 years ago, 8 years ago. How is it that we're not holding them responsible for that? How is that there was an election in 2020, there was an election in 2022, and nothing happened? There was no change in the government. So what is the sense of we going to complain about poor health care, about lack of trust in the public health care system, but we do nothing as a people to change those people, change this government that put us in that position of having lost faith and trust in the system? It does not make any sense. The health is your biggest asset, especially if you're getting older. And if you're not going to have trust in the delivery of health care, and you're paying a government to deliver health care, then who you hold responsible? Me? Who do you hold responsible? We like to believe that we are CCM and we are NRP and we are this and we are that. And sometimes we have to look beyond this tribal politics. Sometimes we have to say, no.
Citizen.
I'm a citizen of Nevis and St. Kitts first. But what we do? Oh, I like him. Oh, me a CCM. But you are dying up on a bed. Just like me, we're NRP. Sickness doesn't pick out. But we as a people have the skill set and the knowledge and the information to say that what was promised and what was delivered are two separate things. Oil and water. Apples and oranges, whatever you want to call it. But they have not delivered. You can say COVID as much as you want. You can say quantity survey all you want. You can say talking to this person all you want. The bottom line is have not delivered.
True.
You have not delivered in 8 years. That's an indictment, not so much on Brantley and them, It's an indictment on us. It's an indictment of us because we have not acted against them in sufficient force to remove them. So who's to blame? Who's to blame on this? Is we, the people of Nevis? So when you talk about health care and your child getting sick and people are dying in the wards and you have no confidence, you want to go to St. Kitts or you want to go to the US or you want to go to Mexico or wherever, that's an indictment on us because we have not provided the kind of leadership among ourselves to say to this government here, get to hell out of here. You have not delivered. Mark Brandy came back here and bragged about what he saw in Bermuda. How fantastic Bermuda Hospital looked. Bermuda is the same size as Nevis.
And the airport.
And the airport. So the Bermudans, many of whom have roots from Nevis and St. Kitts, acted against their government to say, listen, if I don't provide what you say I can provide, are you gone here?
Mm-hmm.
And so we in Nevis, what makes it so special? That we can simply look at nonsense and accept mediocrity. We can accept substandard politicians and keep them there to punish us for another term, to punish our children and our grandchildren. It is on us. I can talk bad about Mark, but from now to kingdom come, it does not change it because what? I have one vote. One. When I go to the hospital and lay down on the bed, it's me one.
Nobody else. Me one up there in the bed. I might have people come visit, but it's me one in the bed. Each of us have to take a responsibility for the status we find ourselves in. For the condition we find ourselves in. We must take personal responsibility. Because when we had a chance to vote to remove them, we did nothing. We stayed home or we voted against NRP. The same government that everybody says best for Nevis. Well, how you reconcile it to? If you have a government that's best for Nevis and you got one worse for Nevis, which one you gonna vote for?
Well, it is best. We should vote for.
I mean, this is elementary, and it makes me upset that persons are holding on to tribal politics for the sake of saying they win.
Daily, I'm gonna stop you.
And then you end up in the hospital by yourself up there, bar. Jesus save me. Jesus save me.
You got to save yourself.
Come on, man.
Tulu?
30 seconds. I just want the people of Nevis to understand that this administration has not delivered anything that they would have promised us over the years. But one thing you are sure of, and we are certain of, they have enriched themselves tremendously. And so while you get nothing, they are going home with riches. You reconcile that. Good night.
Just a reminder that we are not going to be here next week. Next week is Holy Week. And for the 20 years that we've been doing this show, we always take off Holy Thursday so that we could go and keep prayers and make sure that we are observing all the religious things and so on. So next week, Thursday, don't look for us. The Thursday after, we'll be back. What do you want to say to the people as we approach this holy period? Each one of us have to look inside ourselves and see if we have been doing the best that we can do for our children. Daly was so passionate and so eloquent that I'm not even going to try to get as good as him. Just ask yourselves, all those people who died and could not be dialyzed in Nevis, whose conscience do you put that on? Because NRP lost the government in 2013 in January, and by April, 2 brand new units arrived here from Israel. At that time, they were the very latest equipment that we could have. Mark Brantley said to you that they wanted an extra $5,000 to ship the units in a container and below deck or whatever, and he was not going to pay any money. Then he said to you, 2 units can't do it. We're going down to Guyana, and we're going to get the assistance, and we'll put 4 more, so we'll have 6. That is 2013. Reflect on the number of persons who have died. I saw him and I heard him at the last funeral day, the one for Fitzroy. And he looked like he was celebrating a come to a happy funeral. Fitzroy was never dialyzed one time in the island of Nevis. Not once. And he died this year, 2024. 25, beg your pardon, correction. You're talking about 12 years after 2 units came to Nevis and were never used on anybody. Not humans, not animals, never used. Because of the spitefulness and the bad mind of the government. So every time that you go out there and you feel smug and you say, I'm a CCM and I vote for CCM, ask yourself if you're voting in your own best interest and in the best interest of the people of Nevis. Because my grandmother used to say, don't worry about me. Worry about yourself. Because you're going to have to give an account. And when you go to St. Peter and you ask a question, Tulu, your name so here. When you had a chance to help those people who had renal failure, and you went and you said that you're voting against the government that provided 2 units, how do you think you do? You're not going to answer for me, you're going to answer for you. We're going to be back with you, not next week, the week after. And we want you to remember that we are here through the goodness of Pico and Kangen water. Join us in 2 Thursdays from now when we're going to have some more important and interesting topics for you. And stay good, stay safe. Have a good night.